What's up everybody? In this video, I'm going to show you how to take a clean macOS installation and turn it into a JavaScript development ready machine. Here's what we'll cover: Homebrew setup and linking it with your shell, editing your shell config files with VS Code, swap macOS's terminal with iTerm 2, and we'll adjust key maps for easier command line navigation. We'll do the whole JavaScript setup, including installing Node, and then we'll create React.js and Next.js projects and demo the full workflow we've just set up. Alright, let's go. macOS comes pre-installed with a CLI called Terminal. We'll use that to install Homebrew. Hit the keyboard shortcut Command Space to launch Spotlight and type in Terminal to launch it. Let's just hide the dock here so we have a bit more space. Let's use Safari to bring up the Homebrew homepage. This short one-liner that uses curl downloads a script from the GitHub user content website and executes it using bash. All we have to do is to copy the command and run it in our terminal. Once the script is run, it gives us some output and tells us what's going to happen. So the following new directories will be created. All the programs installed by Homebrew will go into one of those. As a preliminary step, the Homebrew script will install the Xcode command line tools. These are useful tools for software developers and include things like compilers, linkers, and also Git for version control. A lot of the things that we'll install using Brew will use these tools. We need to do one final thing to finish our Brew setup, and that is adding Homebrew to our path environment variable. Your path is basically a list of directories that your shell will scan for programs. So if we try to run Brew here, we'll get the command not found. The reason is that we haven't added Homebrew to our path yet. If we look at the next steps that Homebrew gives us, it wants us to run these three commands. Instead of echoing out to a .z profile, we're going to echo out to a .zshrc file. We want a .zshrc file for interactive shells because z profile only works with login shells. That's just a little detail. Okay, and let's cat that file to see what's in it. We can see what we've added. If we run the second command and look at the output, we can see that we've added that extra line. Let's do the third and final one, and now we're ready to run Brew. Let's reload our new shell configuration, and let's echo our path variable. And we can see that the Homebrew directory is right there. Okay, let's now try and rerun the command to install Visual Studio Code. One really neat thing of using Brew to install applications as well is it's linked the command code to your VS Code application so you can run it directly from the terminal. Okay, let's open up our shell config using Visual Studio Code. I'm running code with an additional switch because there's a bug in the VM that I'm using, but you won't need to use it. We'll use VS Code to edit our shell config from here on out. It's just easier than using a terminal. And let's go ahead and upgrade our terminal by installing iTerm 2. Alright, this is iTerm 2. The config that we're creating right now will work for iTerm 2 and terminal. We'll install a plugin manager for Z Shell called zgen, and that will make installing shell plugins really easy. Let's copy these commands, and then we'll make the additions to the shell config file. The comments here explain what's happening. We're specifying what plugins we want, and then we're making a save. We'll add syntax highlighting, auto suggestions, auto updating, and let's set a theme. Now when we reload our config, you can see that zgen starts to pull all the things down. Now we have a much better looking shell. There's a lot more configuration and customization that we could do with this. So if you're interested in me making a video about this, let me know in the comments. You can see that we're getting inline suggestions based on our history. So it makes repeating commands and looking for commands that we've run before much easier. So let's add some key maps that will make editing commands inline much easier. If we load up the preferences with command comma and go to profiles, we can load the natural text editing profile, which will add all these key mappings for us. Our terminal is now looking good. And now it's time to install NVM. That will help managing different versions of Node and swapping things in and out much easier. Homebrew's given us some next steps, and so we'll just copy this and add it to our config file that's open in VS Code. We should also create NVM's working directory, so we'll run this make directory command. Let's reload our shell config. Now that we have NVM installed, let's go ahead and install a version of Node with it. So we can run nvm install node. And as an aside, we can see what versions of Node are available by running nvm list. And if we want to change the version of Node that's running on our machine, We can specify that using the command NVM use. We are now ready to start a JavaScript project. We'll use create React app to get a simple React project going. We'll create a code folder for our projects to keep things organized, and we'll go ahead and use create React app to create a React project called React app. Let's go inside our newly created React app directory and run npm start. Behind the scenes, this creates a local dev server that serves up the HTML generated by React. We access this local server via the address localhost on port 3000 in our web browser. And voila, our React app is live. Let's go back to our shell and create a split screen with the keyboard shortcut Command D so that we can keep the dev server running while we open the project in VS Code. In the sidebar, we can see all our project files. Let's make a simple change to the main app.js file by adding another p tag. Hit save, and let's go back to our web browser to see the changes. Cool, and that's how you get started with React using create React app. Now let's try to create a starter project for Next.js. Let's kill the React dev server with the shortcut Ctrl+C, and let's go back up one level to our code directory. We'll search the web for how to get a Next.js project going. Similar to the React example, there is a create Next app that we can use. So let's do exactly that. Let's close our React VS Code. Create Next app will step us through the config needed to set up. I'm sticking to the default settings here. Okay, our project's created. Let's go inside and start things up. If I look at the package.json file in the Next.js project, hit the shortcut Command P to bring up the command palette in VS Code, you'll see that the start script for Next.js is npm run dev, not npm start like in the React project. Let's do npm run dev and launch the site in our browser. Boom, we have a working Next.js project. Okay, let's make a change so that we can say that we're coding. Here it's saying we need to modify the app/page tsx file. So we'll go back to VS Code and we'll add another p tag like before. Hit save and let's go back and see. Boom. So far we've been using Safari, but Google Chrome has pretty good dev tools and we want to use those instead of Safari's. We can install Chrome using Brew, and we'll set it to be our default web browser. And voila, our Next.js project is working in Google Chrome also. Let's right click or hit the shortcut Option Command J to bring up the Chrome DevTools. There we go. We've officially created a JavaScript, React and Next.js development workflow on a brand new Mac. You can use this setup we've created here as a good foundation for all your future software development. You can swap things out like editors, terminals, browsers, runtimes, but the structure and basics will remain the same. And I also use this foundation to build a SaaS website that's geared towards crypto portfolio and tax management. I have an MVP at moonscape.app. So if you want to go check that out and let me know what you guys think or sign up to the mailing list, that would be awesome. And if you like this video and want to see me do more, hit that like and subscribe or leave a comment below. Happy coding!